Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? What's good? What's good? This is the Black Manga Critic. I'm here with Nakamanga for the Yu Yu Hakusho Deadman Wonderland discussion. And this is part two of it. Hold on, I just gotta mute. Sorry. I always forget to mute the actual video that's on like YouTube.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So but anyway, this is the Yu Yu Hakusho Deadman Wonderland discussion. And this is part two of it. We have part one. I have part one on my channel. You can always look into that and watch that. We basically covered a certain number of chapters for each of us. So Nakamanga is reading Yu Yu Hakusho basically for the first time. He's reading, so he's going through arc after arc. I let him know when an arc is ending so that he can like just read those particular chapters. And then I am reading Deadman Wonderland for the first time. And he lets me know which chapters I should read and stop at, so that we can have a discussion about it and everything like that. And I think it went really well in part one. So if all y'all haven't checked it out yet, definitely please check it out. If all of y'all haven't subbed to Nakamanga at all, please do. Just again, introduce yourself, Nakamanga, just for the chat.
Yeah, sure. So he told, my channel name is Nakamanga, and yeah, I'm also just more manga content. But yeah, lately I was a little bit busy since I'm planning to move to Japan and everything. So my video content is a little bit it's not a lot there right now. But yeah, so I'm also working for in the future. So would be great to sub and see for the content which will come out in the future. So, but either way, I'm always planning to do this Hakusho and Deadman Wonderland stuff, or maybe more stuff in the future, discussions with the Black Manga Critic here.
All right, sweet. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Awesome. So, like I said, again, make sure you sub if you haven't already. Go ahead.
And if people are here who didn't read any of those two, feel free to always join in the chapters we always discuss. So if you want to join in to also only read these arcs, and yeah, we can always discuss with you guys too in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. So okay, so just so y'all know, I've read up to chapter 8. So I've read 1 through 8. And Nakamanga has read up to chapter 24 of Yu Yu Hakusho. So that's what we're basing the discussion on. What our thoughts on the chapters, what we might think will happen moving forward, and things of that nature. All right. Mm-hmm. So which one? So I think we started with Deadman Wonderland first last time, and then moved to Yu Yu Hakusho. So let's start with the Yu Yu Hakusho this time, and then Wonderland.
Okay, so let me just recap the small arc there. So we stopped at where Yusuke, he got revived, and that's where the first part stopped. And we came back here with Yusuke going back to his normal life, even so everyone around is not kind of like they need to get used to that he's back, and he's also some kind of wanderer at the school now. But he got a mission from Enma for Enma Junior, to get those 3 items, which were stolen, I guess. And yes, he got the mission to retrieve them for Enma Junior, because his father will be mad if they are not back when Enma Senior returns. Which I thought was really funny. So yeah, we got 3 new enemies, I guess, and one of them wasn't. For the 3 items, every enemy had 1 item, and we had like a kind of ogre guy who had the orb which absorbs souls, and he was eating the souls because he was like a soul-eating ogre. Mm-hmm. That was the first one which Yusuke fought, and then the second one was Kurama, like a fox demon, which can transform. He had like the mirror where you can offer your life in return of a wish, or I don't know if it was really a wish, but you can basically turn your life in and you receive something for it.
Yeah.
And so Kurama was not kind of evil guy. And the third one was this eye demon with sword, which if you cut someone, this person or this human will turn into a demon. And yeah, he was like basically the most evil of those. And yeah. So for the fights, first we got also the first chapter was an introduction where Yusuke was taught about his power or his spirit powers, where he can shoot a bullet, spirit energy bullet, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this will be his signature move for I guess. And yeah, so first fight was the ogre guy. Was in the woods, just met some randomly, I guess, and yeah, just some like basic tricks. He could trick the ogre and could shoot in the mouth, I guess, and blow his head. And yeah, so that's when he retrieved the first item. The second item was not a fight, but Kuruma. He was raised by humans because of his circumstances, and he wanted to save his foster mother, and he wanted to be alive, and he tried to offer himself so his mother could be saved. But yeah, this was like more similar to the stories before, where Yusuke just came in and told, yeah, no, and just helped the guy to not offer himself. So he saved him, and the mother was fine in the end. Yeah, so it's more similar to the stories before. And the third one was also a fight where actually Kurama also jumped in and got stabbed with the sword, and with some trickery also with the bullet, where Yusuke just shot it and reflected it back to yeah, the eye demon guy, and yeah, they could beat him. So they retrieved all the 3 swords, and I guess the most funny moment was when Elmore Jr. got punished from his father by slapping him on the ass. I so hard of this moment.
Yeah.
And one more important thing is like Botan actually is in the human world right now, and she's like also wearing like the looks like a high school student, and yeah, Yusuke's girlfriend, love interest, I guess, is really jealous about it because Botan is really hanging out without even noticing that she's like kind of a problem there. Yeah, so that was I guess all the recap.
Okay, so okay, so that's cool. So like, I guess I have like some questions to kind of like frame the discussion basically. But I guess like the first question I kind of have for you is, which battle did you enjoy the most, and why did you enjoy it the most? Like, in terms of like those sort of 3, like those sort of right, in terms of the items that he had to go get, and like which battle did you think was like the most interesting in terms of like the manga?
I guess the third one was the interesting one with the eye demon guy, simply because like there was more interaction with everything around. We had Kurama jump in. Yeah, he had like a really big reason because the demon guy cut the. I should remember the names.
Is that Hiei?
Yeah, well, let me check. I have the
because like we said eye demon guy, I'm like Hiei is like the character that pops up to my mind when I think eye demon guy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, because I was like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but yeah. I get what you're saying.
Okay. So yeah, we had Kurama jumping in, which was a former ally to him and to Hiei, and also we had Keiko. Is it her name?
Oh yeah, Yusuke's girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, Keiko. Yeah, she was cut by the demon sword, so she was turning into the demon. So he had like a really big motivation to go there and help her and fight with Hiei, and he couldn't overcome it by himself. He was too weak by himself. So Kurama just splattered some blood on the eyes, so Hiei couldn't use his powers. And yeah, so in the combination, there was more going on in the fight which make it more enjoyable for me. First fight was more like getting to know his power more and how to use it in a real life fight, because the first chapter of this arc was to introduce the power, and he just used it to shoot at a teacher, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher who stole some items, you know, it's not really important, but he just used it to shoot at a teacher. And so the first fight was just using the power in a fight. That was basically the ogre guy. And yeah, so this was just an introduction for me. And yeah, Kurama was not really a fight. It was more like to introduce a demon who also is not a bad guy. You know, he's a demon, sure. He wants to use the stolen item for something, sure, but he has good motivations. So to also differentiate because of good demons and bad demons. That was the Kurama part. And yeah, so the really big fight was here, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I kind of agree. I think like just the way that like some manga, when they're doing battle shonen, they really you know, like every battle is a battle. You know what I mean? Like it's like when the arc is sort of like focused around something, usually it's like, here's one battle, here's an interesting, you know, martial arts skill or power or something like that, and then we move on to the next battle, something like that, right? But here you really have and I think the sort of beginning of the Yu Hakusho, like right, that first arc where Yusuke has to go through all the trials, like that really sets a tone, because it's anytime we have some sort of like conflict, it's never just about, oh, let's get to the battle. Let's, you know, right. At this point, it's never, let's just get to the battle. Let's see Yusuke, you know, do the you know, street brawler fighting style thing, you know, whatever. There's always like a point, right? It's always, you know, like with Kurama, it's like, hey, you know, it's not really about, let's see what Kurama can do in terms of like, you know, his fighting style and stuff like that, or let's see what Yusuke can do, blah blah blah. It's about, you know, the interaction with the characters. Like that's really like at the forefront of, you know, what's going on with the Yu Hakusho. At least I think. And so I guess that to me, that can kind of sort of move into my next question, which is, how do you feel about general sort of like construction of sort of Yusuke's journey up until this point? Like what's going on with you know, like is it, yeah, just generally, what do you think, like how do you feel about Yusuke's sort of character progression up until this point, right? And not necessarily in terms of like his personality so much as it like his how do you feel about his interaction with like the characters that he's meeting so far and things of that nature?
Yeah, so for his personality, I think we didn't have any progress that much here. It was, yeah, there was not, the personality wasn't moving forward for me, but his interaction with other people, yeah, he's just, for me it's like similar from before. He's just a good guy, but he's like really rough in his in his way of doing. So this was also the first Oga guy was just like randomly met, and there was just a boy also randomly at this place, and yeah, so he just wanted to protect the boy, sure, but in a way he was doing it was like, yeah, just run away, and you didn't see anything after blowing up the head of the ogre. He just told the boy, yeah, you didn't see anything here, forget it, you know. It's like really, really rough. He handles the situation really rough, but his intentions are always good, and that's what this point was similar with the chapters before. And yeah, same for Kurama was the same thing, I guess. Basically, it was the same thing for all three fights.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think like that's one thing that, again, and then that's another thing, right? It's like, yeah, you know, you want to see certain types of character development, right? In terms of like their personality, how they're, you know, morality, stuff like that. But I think what you've pointed out both in part one and also in this stream is like, it's not like this sort of like beginning is really about sort of like peeling away the layers that Yusuke clearly has like up, like the the tough act and stuff like that, tough guy, the rough exterior, all that stuff, and we really get to see like the kind of person Yusuke actually is in those interactions. Because sometimes I think like, and again, I'm like, when I think about just like even like the really popular Weekly Shonen Jump sort of manga, like older stuff, like I'm not talking about sort of the stuff like right now, because I think the stuff right now is doing that better in some ways. But the older stuff, the Naruto, the One Piece, stuff like that, like sometimes you don't really get to know, right? Like it takes a while to really understand even just like a character like Luffy or Naruto and stuff, because they're so very much so like there's this goal and everything is about the goal. You know what I mean? And so they're who they really are, what they think, how they grew up, stuff like that. That's not necessarily like at the forefront of the story so much as it is I need to move forward to like become Hokage or and be stronger, or I need to like find One Piece and move forward and be stronger and stuff like that. But with Yusuke, it's like really, it's like, yeah, he has some goals, but even then, these like arcs, like they're not really about the goals so much as they're about just like Yusuke. Like really, it's really about us seeing who Yusuke is. Like what does he do when the chips are down? What does he do when he's faced with particular situations? How does that define him as a character? What's he like? And I like that. Like that happens right from the get-go, in a way that's very I think Tagashi pushes that forward way more than I think some other mangaka might do. Nakamanga, you there? Sorry guys, I think I lost Nakamanga for a sec. I don't know what happened. Basically, we're just gonna kind of continue. I'm just gonna wait for him to come back because I lost him. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna try to contact him and see what happened. All right. But basically, we're just talking. If you are just now joining, we are talking about Yu Yu Hakusho up to chapter 24. That's where Nakamanga is right now. But like I said, I'm not sure what happened just now. Like I think he cut out. I'm just gonna, send him a message just to see like what's going on. Again, like I apologize about that. It's a live stream discussion. Stuff happens. You know what it is. We should get it fixed shortly. Okay, hold on. Let me see what's going on. Give me a sec. I'll let you know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the stream now. I might just delete the stream, because when something like that happens, it's like it kind of sucks. But I don't want y'all waiting around or anything like that, and I don't think I can like really edit live stream sort of like videos or anything like that. So I'm just gonna end the stream now, and then I'll restart the stream like maybe a bit later on, and then that's what we'll do. All right. So we kind of went into like Yu Yu Hakusho a bit. I still want to hear Nakamanga's thoughts on what's going on with what he thinks about Yusuke and how the sort of chapters have been constructed. Because I kind of gave you my thoughts about it, but I want to still want to hear what Nakamanga has to say. And then I think what we'll do, we'll talk a little bit more about Yu Yu Hakusho and how he feels about it. And I'll say like sort of like a part of this video. So I'll start another live stream. It'll just like I'll still keep this one up, but it'll just be sort of like a half of it. And then the other one that I start, it'll be more Deadman Wonderland based. So that's kind of how we'll go about it. Okay. So I'm gonna end the stream now, and then we'll pick it up in a little bit, or we'll do it a bit later. All right. And again, I'm definitely gonna have to do that Kingdom stream later on, so don't worry about that. All right, so I'm the Black Manga Critic, and hold on, is that Nakamanga? Are you back? Yeah, oh, I was about to sign out. Man. I was like, man, I was telling everybody like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set this up, blah, blah, blah. But I'm glad that we are back. It's cool. I'll just like put a little like thing in the description box to say, hey, skip to this, skip here.
Okay, okay.
Disregard the thing, and we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But
my Wi-Fi just died, so my laptop lost connection. So yeah.
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it, man. It happens. It happens. So don't worry about it. It's good. It's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
where was I cut off?
So basically, I think I was talking about how I felt about how, like, if you look at something like certain characters, right, in their respective manga, don't really get characterization in the way that I think we get it with Yusuke at the beginning, right? Because I think with Yu Yu Hakusho at the beginning, right, and this doesn't mean that, and I'm not saying that this doesn't happen like later on in like the manga or anything like that, but I think at the beginning we really focus on like Yusuke and really understanding who he is as a person and what he thinks about, what he sort of believes in, what he what he does when the chips are down, what he does in particular situations and stuff like that. And I think with other shonen, it's sort of more about, how interesting is the battle, how interesting are the sort of politics of the world, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And how cool can this protagonist be in these particular situations and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually agree. It's like, I think we also said that last time, like the first part, 18 chapters were like the introduction about Yusuke and his character and personality, and not even moving forward, just the introduction about how does he react in all the situations. And now the next, from chapter 19 to 24, is still basically the same concept, but now we have like fighting situations where he needs to fight and prove his powers, and so basically it's the same concept, but now we are moving from a situation where he needs to react to something or just do something to where he needs to fight something for someone. And for me, this is like also before it's still the introduction about basically the introduction about Yusuke and what he wants to do and how he reacts to all the different stuff happening.
Yeah. And again, like I said that as I was sort of talking about that right when you cut off, but I was saying like, that was something that you mentioned in part one of the stream, that you really noticed how, it wasn't so much about Yusuke's character development or anything like that, as much as it was like now, we kind of get through the rough exterior and we get to see, who Yusuke really is and what like how he thinks about certain things, what kind of decisions he'll make in particular situations and stuff like that. So yeah. I definitely agree. I agree on all that, on all fronts. And again, that's why I think that's why I appreciate the beginning of Yu Yu Hakusho, and I think it's just really different from a lot of the battle shonen that were out at the time. And even just a little bit later, you have battle shonen, even up until like the early 2000s, where it's just not, like the characters, they're just doing, like, those manga are doing different things with their characters from the beginning, and I think, the clear thing is, to raise the popularity of their manga and, get a fan base and stuff like that. And I think Togashi was just kind of writing, he's just kind of writing, he's just drawing.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, to build a fan base directly, you have to have something cool where people are like getting on the train, on the Hyperm directly. Like, that's like a cool fight, a cool ability, or something. And not so much about character development. That's something like popular manga tend to do later. But like you said, here Yu Yu Hakusho, like, we are first introducing the character and what's going on and what's he doing, and really setting up the character first, setting up the character first, and then I guess we will soon move forward to move forward with Yusuke together.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Okay, so let me think. Is there anything else that you wanted to say that you noticed that you thought was like particularly interesting about the arc that I gave you, or is it, anything that you want to talk about?
Well,
that we haven't talked about?
something which maybe, like, if I move a little bit towards predictions,
Yeah,
something
sure.
maybe will be interesting is that Enma is back, and not only Enma Junior. I don't know if Yusuke will be in contact with Enma, or if Enma will play a role there, or if we just keep hanging out with Enma Junior. But maybe that's something I noticed, like, yeah, maybe we'll get Enma now and move towards more bigger stuff when Yusuke is now starting to develop into a stronger fighter. Maybe move, but I don't know if it's now, next arc, or in 2 arcs or 3 arcs. Like, I guess that's something I noticed now, and which maybe I hope will happen, or I guess will happen. But I don't have any predictions when. So
That's cool. That's cool. Also, like, interesting. I think, like, it's like the beginning parts of Yu Yu Hakusho don't necessarily lend themselves to that. I think, in a way, like, it's not like, right, like, it could, because I like something great when you read other kind of like certain manga, like the early manga, you can kind of go that route, because it is more so about, world building and introducing, like, groups and spaces and stuff like that, and certain, like, powerful entities or whatever. But, like, this isn't really, like, this the sort of beginning of Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, it isn't really about that. Like, it's really, like, it really is about the characters. Like, it really is about characterization. They're always at the forefront of the story. Right? Like, in this part, like, sometimes you're like, am I supposed to, like, care about what's happening, like, in the world, or in like, the world as it's been displayed and built and stuff like that, or am I supposed to care about what, like, how these characters are interacting with one another, like, and I think that doesn't lend itself to predictions or grandiose, like, theories and stuff like that, because it doesn't, like, it's not important. Like, the theories, like, aren't really what matters in that sense. At least, like, in this part, right at this beginning, like, it's not like, it's like, well, how will Yusuke develop as a character? Like, it's like, that's not like it's not like a theory based video or something like that. Like, it's not, it doesn't have the same kind of, like, feel to it, I guess. I don't know what the word would be, but it's like when you watch a One Piece, like, theory video, it's like all about the world, how it's built, political implications of things. Same thing with Naruto, and even Bleach to an extent, stuff like that. Yeah.
It's always because the world is already built so far and it's so big, and you have so many information about. I don't know, if you take One Piece, you have the Revolutionary Army. We can start to build a theory based on the information we already got of them from the last point. But here the world is still so small and so nothing. We basically have only Enma Junior giving missions to objectives to Yusuke, and he's trying to fulfill them together with Botan. That's basically our work right now. Okay, we have now a few new characters introduced. I don't know, Kurama maybe is sticking around. I'm not sure. Hiei also didn't die. Maybe he will be a rival or enemy. That's something I'm guessing right now. But world itself, and we have I forgot the girl's name, Keiko. Yeah, we have Keiko around. So that's something for sure. We will use Keiko to move forward together as characters. But what exactly is going to happen? I don't know. I guess we still get more objectives for now, for the close future or near future. Some more objectives from Enma Junior. But for what's going to happen later time, can move anywhere, I guess.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay, so I guess that's, like, a good sort of segue to move into the Deadman Wonderland kind of discussion of this part of, like, the stream. Oh man.
From you, if you.
Wait. What happened?
Yeah, a recap from you. What do you think?
Man, I'm terrible when it comes to like recaps, especially when it comes to good good manga, I guess. Like it's weird, right? I think like I know like I guess like the sort of like gist of things. Right, we had man, I'm terrible with like names. I still Ganta, right?
Ganta.
Right, like we have Ganta you know, slowly but surely really learning how to use his ability, which we're pretty much confirmed like is like called like a branch of sin. Like his sort of like, you know, his sort of special ability. We have him figuring out that there is another section to Deadman Wonderland, the sort of G area, or the G section. I can't remember what they call it, but I'm gonna go with the G section. And
yeah, it's a hidden section in the prison. So basically, publicly there are only 6, but the 7th one is G, and it's hidden. And even like the Makino.
Yeah, the chief sort of like warden, I guess, like if you want to call it that, or the chief kind of like security person. Like she had no idea. I think that was something that I really liked, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit after I sort of just like recap. But like basically, right, like we get Ganta, he's sort of slowly but surely learning how to use his ability. One, because of you know, his sort of desire to like go after the red man, who we still don't really know too much about, outside of the fact that he is supposedly the you know, individual from which, like, I guess like the word would be like progenitor or something like that. But basically he's like the like every branch of sin that, let's say, some of these like that all of these like inmates have is derived from him, apparently, or her. I'm not sure. It could be a guy, but it could be, I don't know. But it's derived from the red man. So that I thought was interesting. Again, like I said earlier in the stream, not early in the stream, but like before we started the stream, like anytime this dude, the dude who was supposed to be a lawyer, right? Like anytime this guy says something of significance, I always take that with a grain of salt, because like I have no idea if he's telling the truth. I mean, like it's very, I think that, and it's very apt that you know, he was first introduced as a lawyer, right? Like I think that's very apt. It's like for his characterization, that like, you know, the fact that like he's always been called a fox. His eyes kind of have that like sort of slant in the way that characters who are usually sort of sly and trickster like characters and are sort of related to like foxes, maybe in their names or in the way that their nicknames and stuff like that. Everything about him is suspect, right? So anytime he says something, I have to take that with a grain of salt. I can't take that as like a hard truth, but I think there is some truth to it in that, like that the red man is definitely at the very least connected to the origins of like the branches of sin. But yeah, and then like Shido, we you know, another recap thing, like Shido, you know, clearly we already know that she's like very strong physically, and not it's not even that she's not bright, but that she's very like straightforward in how she thinks about things and how she relates to people. You know, right? Shido was, you know, upset that he said that all of his friends had died at the hands of the red man, and she was upset because it didn't seem like at that point when he said it, it didn't seem that he considered Shido a friend. So she got upset, and then he was like, "Oh, well, maybe, you know, actually, I think we are friends." And then, you know, everything sort of shifted from there in terms of their friendship. And what else happened? Oh, and then Ganta was sort of being you know, checked out, and not necessarily experimented on, but he was being checked out. You know, that was a really intense scene. That's where, you know, you saw some things were revealed in that instance. We also saw, I don't know, that the sort of like white-haired character, the guy who's kind of trying to use both Ganta and Shido.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his name right now in the book.
You know? But that guy, like, man, he's one of those characters where you watch him and you're just like, man, I don't know what his backstory is, but it probably sucks. Or maybe it doesn't suck, and maybe that's why he just, like, you know, easily uses people. I don't know. but I'm interested to learn more about him, and what his backstory is, where how he ended up in Deadman Wonderland, the fact that he thought that he could use Shiro, that made me laugh. And he was just like, oh, I have this plan, but that didn't really pan out. And the fact that in one instance, I thought that was kind of small, but it was also really interesting. The fact that we realized that the sort of lawyer guy, the guy who basically kind of runs like things in Deadman Wonderland, right? Like he gave that guy like 90 million like credits or whatever, and I mean, yeah, the guards like took that from him, but it was like I was like, man, like that was really interesting. And I guess I'll talk about that a bit, but I think that's everything. I almost forgot. And then also we have the other branch of sin, Crow. How did I forget? If I forgot to mention that, that would have been ridiculous. But right, we have Crow, who's really, really, who's a really cool character. I was really interested in the way that they not only introduced him, but because there was sort of a red herring. We were like, oh, maybe he's the Red Man, but he's really just like another branch of sin user. And he's kind of like he's a red herring, like he kind of leads us off the trail and things of that nature. But we get him, we get his sort of like he's sort of a character that pushes the protagonist to grow and things of that nature. We know a little bit more about Deadman Wonderland because of his introduction. And then we get these other inmates. Some of the other inmates are interesting. So I think that's the general. Oh, and then the fact that whenever like that Sector G is basically where the branches of sin are being held, I believe, and that they pretty much do battle with one another on a consistent basis. And anytime one of them wins, they get treated pretty well as they can, right, in a prison. But when they lose, they are like a body part is taken. And like that was like, oh, okay. Because when Crow lost, I thought he was dead. I thought he was just gonna die. They're gonna kill him. They're gonna throw him in like a pile of bodies, dead bodies or something. You know what I mean? That's some really morbid stuff. But yeah, I think that's the general like sort of gist of things in terms of like everything that was kind of revealed. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I guess to just throw the branches of sin away is like maybe they're a little bit too valuable because there are not that many. So
yeah,
I guess it would a little bit away. Just throw them away after one fight. But yeah, so I guess that was actually a great recap. So you didn't do bad at all.
Thanks.
But, yeah, my first, if we talk about the first or the main thing here was the introduction of the G sector and Crow and the fight and the new games. Because outside in the first part, we had the public games where all the inmates just take part somehow and just something like fun. But here we have like let's call it like an underground society, I guess, of people with power who just watching these fights privately. You have all the symbols, and also the game leader, the lawyer. Yeah, he's holding the games, and yeah, we have like this underground society inside the prison also. So, basically my question is about all this stuff with also with Crow and the other inmates who are introduced. So how do you? Yeah, I guess it's more towards predictions, but how do you think this will develop about the kind of underground games there?
Yeah, I think one thing that I really appreciated.
Yeah, well, first, what did you like and what did you not like about this stuff, and then we can move forward, I guess.
Sure. I mean, yeah. It's like about what you sort of asked me. One thing that I really loved was just the setup of the prison for the branches of sin. Like it was like literally a cog right? And all of their cells made up this like massive like cog. And I thought that was like really brilliant, and the art was wonderful. And it's stuff like that I think, that's what kind of separates like, the mangaka that are like really pushing storytelling and are really using the the manga form and the comic form, right, to tell stories. I was like, man, like, because they're literally cogs, right? They're just being used for like the entertainment. Not only, I mean, right, like one, of course, like for the entertainment of these people that we don't necessarily know, but also like this guy who clearly has more motives other than I just want to have a good time and I want to have fun and I want to, use you as puppets and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really well done, because it really hits you, like the art, and it was the art that hit you. It wasn't like, it wasn't like the dialogue didn't really tell you, oh, like these people are cogs. They're being used to like run this prison. Like they are commodities, right? Like it was like that. I thought it was really, really interesting. So I love that. In terms of, I love the inmates. The inmates were really funny. They were like, right, like I remember them distinctly, and I think that's really important, because sometimes, you'll read other manga and it's sort of like, nah, it's all right, man, don't worry about it. But just give he'll be right back. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, everybody. Do not be alarmed. I'm basically, gonna get into how I feel about the other sort of branches of sin. But yeah, okay. So basically, all right. So Nakamanga is back.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. It's cool. Don't worry about it, man. Live stream. So basically, I like the fact that those characters were very memorable. Right? We only, I only really saw them like one chapter or something like that. But I distinctly remember them. I'm pretty sure, the sort of kind of leader of that sort of gang is I want to say a trans woman, but I'm not sure about how the character identifies or anything like that. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go with trans woman because I think that's like the right route to go. Yeah. But I thought that was really, really like cool. I like that. Like, and I like that it's like, it's not a big deal. It's just like, hey, this is like, I'm trans woman to people. This is a character, and she's a great character.
Yeah, I also thought when Crow was actually, when Shiro landed on Crow and like her chest was in his face and he was like all getting.
Oh yeah, he was flustered. Yeah.
Yeah, always, and also with other women always, but when the transgender person there just, he also told like it was just like one speech bubble, I guess, but he just told you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Crow is always getting flattered by all these women, but he never did it for me, because
yeah, and it's like yeah, Crow clearly like has his own issues with trans women, right? Like so we understand that, like we get the joke, and it's like, oh, okay, and like I mean like he just has issues with, I think, with women in general. You know what I mean? Like he gets flustered. He's like, oh my god. Like, he's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So like I thought that was like also really funny.
Yeah, but I thought this joke like could integrate the transgender woman or man, like.
I would say woman, because I think I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, like I said, I don't know, because like I'm not sure, right? Because the character either could be a trans woman, or it could be someone who likes to participate in like drag, right? Like so it could be that. There could be a whole bunch of things. We're not sure yet. I'm gonna go trans woman because I think like that's where it's going. But it's whatever. We'll see. But
I thought it was well integrated, because you could clearly also see this person have like the humor and the fun to make that kind of statement. So we don't have any issues here with any of the characters. So that's why I like this moment.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the moment. I was like, like anytime I see that in a manga, but particularly a manga, I'm always like pretty impressed, because I think, I'm always like, yo, that's really nice. but like I guess like I thought the images are just really memorable. They just like they kind of reminded me of like you know what I mean? Like whenever you have a group that's introduced and you have that like really cool panel where all of them are like standing and they're like posing or doing whatever, and it's like really well, it's always well drawn. It's always really has impact. You know, the guy who kind of like reminded me of like, you know, the gluttony kind of like archetype character, you know, and the old guy who like apparently still like hears his daughter. I don't know. He might actually have like a recording, like in the earpiece. It's either that or he's, you know, dealing like he's like mentally unstable in that way, in that sense. So there's that too. I'm really interested to see what that's about. I'm really interested to see what that's about.
Yeah. So I just checked the name. So the translator was Masaru Sukegawa. So clearly, like for me,
Oh
it's
yeah,
a manly name. We had we had Kazuya Itadaki was the big guy. Natsuki Takami was the little small girl.
Yep.
And, yeah, unknown name was the old guy with the daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they were all memorable. I liked it. I really appreciated that.
So that's also one thing of like, I guess it's always difficult to do. For example, in Yu Hakusho, it's like really difficult to do in like the setup of only high school, because it's like difficult to differentiate all the people here. But here in this situation, like it's very well done to have like this big palette of different stuff. You have the old guy, you know, a young girl, the fat guy, and you know, like everything fits really well and makes all the characters super interesting.
Yeah, and like I also love that, right? Even though it's very clear that they have to fight against one another at certain points, they're still, you know, they're still hanging around, they're still hanging out, they're still, you know, having a good time. As you know,
or the situation here.
And I like that. I thought what was really interesting was I have no idea how much like that food costs and all this, you know, like for the party, for the festivities. So I'm really interested to see how they deal with Ganta and like his funds, and whether he'll still have enough to buy as many you know, pieces of candy as like he'll need as he can. You know what I mean? He might be only able to buy like 3 pieces of candy with like, you know, what he has left because they spent all of like they spent most of his money. You know, so like that's interesting to me. But I do think that this might be a way for the manga to deal with the problem that is Ganta getting candy and being able to afford it and stuff like that. So that's not like a sort of like, you know, important point moving forward, and then we can kind of focus on like other things like Ganta, like, you know, learning more information about who the Red Man is and what's going on with Deadman Wonderland as a whole, why it exists. You know, more about the lawyer dude, because he's clearly like another like very mysterious character that we desperately like. I desperately need to know more about, because he's one of those characters where it's like, I don't like him, and the fact that I don't know much about him only pisses me off. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I need to know more about this guy. Like I need, like you know what I mean? Like the fact that he's like more of a mystery, in some ways than the Red Man bothers me. You know what I mean? Because at least with the Red Man, it's like it's very clear that like he's a character that is powerful. He sort of acts as, you know, a goal for Ganta, in a sense, but like this like, you know, sort of runner of Deadman Wonderland. I'm like, what's your deal, man? Like what's going on? You know, I need to know more. So I'm really interested.
What made me like hate this character so much, like, was like when they were examining Ganta there, he basically just confessed to Ganta, like, yeah, we just put you here for this stuff here, you know, you were basically innocent, you know. So like how easily he just almost jokingly like confessed the stuff to him.
Yeah.
To Ganta. Like after these panels, I really hated this guy. From the bottom of my heart, I started to hate him.
Yeah, same, man. I was just like, this guy, like, like you know, it's always those characters that just need to be taken down a peg. You know what I mean? Like not a peg, but like eight pegs. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just need to just get curb stomped at some point. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm like I kind of predict that because I don't think he's a character that has like longevity in the sense that he's not. I don't think he's going to survive the end, like to the end of this manga. I'm pretty sure like someone is gonna kill him. Either it's gonna be the Red Man or Ganta or Shido. Someone is going to kill him. Or the sort of like chief like security like sort of guard of Deadman Wonderland. Makina, I guess is her name, or something like that.
Yeah.
Makina, I guess. Like if that would be cool. Because I think like when I read the first 4 chapters, I was like, oh, this woman is like scum. And I think she is still scum to an extent, because it's like to sort of enjoy like torturing like these people and stuff like that. Especially when they might be, you know, like maybe they're innocent or something like that. I don't know. But I think I still don't like her. But I do what I do like is the way that they've sort of pitted her against the lawyer, like the sort of guy that's really running things. I like that. I like that that sort of like clash, right? Like that they set them as opposed to one another. That's pretty cool, because like then I have to kind of be rooting for her a little bit. You know, like I can't just be like, oh, she's
more.
Yeah.
No, I understand it. Yeah, that's actually also when I read that part, like my feelings were the same there. So for the like more on a holistic kind of view, the new game, the fights, what do you think will go there? Will we, I don't know, like see the fights going on until the end of the series? Will they unite? Will they kill each other until just one is there and he will be free, or can they be free? What do you think? Is the story going in this way?
Well, I think just because like it seems like the manga is fairly short. Like, so I think there's only so far that they can go with it, but I do think that what will happen is eventually you will have the like I feel like the prison I feel like Deadman Wonderland might just like be like might end up like being destroyed, and then we'll have like what'll happen is we'll have we'll have one half like of sort of like the manga series where we're very much so in Deadman Wonderland, and Ganta is progressively getting stronger, and you know Shido is also progressively either progressively getting stronger, or she'll just stay where she is because she's pretty powerful already, and then the other half will be eventually like we'll sort of encapsulate life after Deadman Wonderland, I guess. Like Ganta will like escape at some point, and then we'll have like a whole like another antagonist, I guess. Whether that's the Red Man or it's someone else controlling the Red Man, I'm not sure. But I think that's kind of where I see the manga going, because I don't know. I guess I just kind of feel like it's too like usually when a space is sort of like drawn out, or like when we know the parameters of a space, the space has become too small, right, for like a story. So now we know that there's like, right, we have these 6 sections that like we know about the 6 sections, but we also have the secret section, right? And so once we kind of understand that, then it's like, okay, like now we can have a part of the story be Ganta kind of, you know, either exploring these sections or figuring out what's going on and how the space works. And then eventually he has to break out of the space. Because if he doesn't break out of the space, like to me that'd just be really, really depressing. Like I don't know if I could handle that. I don't know if I could handle Ganta like being in Deadman Wonderland for the entire manga. That just make me incredibly, incredibly sad.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But so I think that at some point we'll have, it might not even be like half the manga where he's in there. It might be like 75% of the manga, you know, he's in Deadman Wonderland and we see what's going on there. And 25% of the manga might be him outside and trying to figure out like what's going on. And we'll have more characters introduced and he'll be in contact with characters that can help him figure out what's going on outside in Japan, in the rest of Japan. But also, or it might be the flip side where we have him where maybe 25 to like 30% of the manga is, you know, actually takes place in Deadman Wonderland, and then everyone breaks out and this is this massive escape of like branches of sin, and they're all doing things outside in Japan. That would be incredible. I think that'd be so interesting. I'd love to see what happens there. That would be like phenomenal.
Okay. Well, I guess the last kind of question would be how should I say the best moment of these 4 chapters, like when Yo or Takami Yo, the blonde guy, with Shiro are trying to get into the G section, and Yo is tricking Shiro, and to have an outage, electricity outage, to go to the vent, to go through the vent, and Shiro is explosion and she was turning up. What are your thoughts there?
Oh man, that was really intense. I think I didn't expect like an explosion. I think that was definitely different. I thought that at some level, like my kind of theory about Cheeto is that she's actually the what was I gonna say? She's actually where the branches of sin come from, I think, or what it is that she is like one half of it. I feel like maybe the Red Man is like one half of where the branches of sin originated, and Cheeto is like sort of the other half. And when they come together, or like maybe it's like their DNA or their blood or something like that or whatever, when they come together, like that creates like a sort of like branch of sin or something like that. I think her explosion, like that explosion, that was interesting, right? Because Ganta also did something kind of similar where he had this whole kind of shield kind of ability, and like so far what we've really seen is like kind of a blast, but also just like not really the blood so much as just kind of like an energy kind of that energy shield, I guess. So I think like there's a way in which both the Red Man and Shido are kind of creators of they're like co-creators of the branches of sin, and that explosion was kind of like her sort of like half of her ability or whatever, or I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think that like she definitely has a connection to the creation of the branches of sin, and that explosion has it's sort of like a hint towards that. But that was really cool. I was like, oh snap! I didn't expect an explosion. I just thought that she was like really strong. But I don't know. I like, and then there was also those sort of like panels where we got to see a little bit about her past, and it almost like it almost right like that she knows Ganta. But I also feel like maybe those like memories were like implanted in some way or something like that. That maybe like maybe she doesn't actually know Ganta in the way that she thinks. But if that's not the case, then they met when they were sort of like kids or something like that. There's I can't remember I don't know if it was a TV show or a manga, but it had something similar where the the protagonist Kenichi, the History's Strongest Disciple.
Yeah.
Right, where like Kenichi and Miyu had met when they were children, and like I think like Kenichi like forgot, right, and Kenichi had forgotten about it, but Miyu I don't think had, and like that was sort of like one of the big parts of that kind of Ragnarok arc, where Kenichi's like friend from childhood had also like met Mio, and like they were kind of almost fighting like over her affections or whatever. It was weird, but basically I think there might be something similar where Jonathan has just forgotten that he met Shido in the past for whatever reason, and yeah, so I want to see where that goes.
Okay. What more specifically, maybe here, what are your thoughts about the mood change, I guess, from Hiro? Because when Yu is tricking also the guards and everything to switch off electricity, and then Shiro just turns from or changes personality, you know, Mike. Like she just says, "Oh, the music stopped," and then no. What specifically about this? What do you think there?
That'd be interesting. It could be that she is connected to. Okay, so this would be another thing, right? It can. So another, I guess, sort of theory is that like clearly, Shido is not human in a sense, and that there's some sort of connection to that like sort of like decrepit elderly person that was like in the bed singing or whatever, and like there's like some sort of like mental link, you know. So when he or she, I'm not sure, when they stopped singing, he's like, oh, it stopped singing. Like that's like a sort of like cue to like, you know, change. I don't know. I'm not sure because I have to really like, I'm not really sure about how to make that correlation like 100%, like you know, because this thing happened, that thing happened, right? I'm not sure how to logic it out, but I do think that they're connected. The music is connected. She with Shido and her personality something. Maybe when maybe the personality shift has to do with the person in bed taking over Shido or something, and kind of like, you know, something like that. So it could be that. Or it could just be like, you know, Shido has like sort of split personality. Yeah, it could be something like that. And then that the person is singing because that kind of keeps the other personality in check. So when the lullaby or the song ends, the other personality comes out and chaos, you know?
Yeah. No, exactly. That's why I chose chapter 8 to like hear theories or speculations about this movement, this topic here, because like it's a really great moment to stop and, well, not the reading, it's not, but to discuss, it's like a really good moment here, I guess. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to discuss, like, were more in depth about branches of sin. We have, like, we got to know two now. Ganta has like to just sum it up, like the branches of sin is like basically the power to control blood, you know, your own blood. So we have Ganta who can shoot his blood like bullets, and we have a crow who can makes his blood to form some kind of blades, you know. So so what were your thoughts about these two powers we have now? And I don't know, do you have maybe some examples what you can imagine what other powers will show up at some point or not? What do you see? I don't know.
So what I think her powers like will sort of like will be, or what they are, like, or you mean but just like other
generally about other branches of sin? Yeah,
other branches of sin. Okay. I think it's interesting because like most, like they're always it's always blood based, right? Like it seems like it kind of has to be blood based. So that's like really interesting. So I think what we'll see is like you know, you'll have like a branch of sin that can like create like blood armor. You have like a branch of sin that could like enhance their speed by like you know, blood propulsion or something like that. You know, like I'm really interested in seeing like something or a branch of sin that can create like blood like minions or something, and they can control them like a sort of like a puppet, like a marionette kind of thing or something like that, I guess is what I would call it. Yeah, those are like those are like the top ones that I think will happen. I think I'll definitely see blood armor. I think I'll definitely see blood puppets, and I think I'll definitely see some way in which someone uses like blood to make themselves faster. Like either they'll like propel the blood from like the cut or something like that, or yeah. That's what I see happening.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, when I first read the first volume completely, you know, all the branch of sin where all the stuff was already introduced. So that's one big point why I continue to read it, because like I think it's very interesting that we have already like in first volume, that we have already such a big drawback from the powers, you know. Gunter's shooting and he's losing blood and he gets weaker and like lose his mind because like, yeah, you only have 6 liters of blood, you know. So you know, like already at the beginning of the series, I have like such a big drawback, and it's kind of interesting to see because like also they told in the series, in the manga itself, like Gunter shooting out his blood is like really a waste basically, and he's depleting his blood level like super fast. And but Crow is just, he uses blood one time and he just changes the shape to make bigger blades with the same amount, you know, like I don't know how to say, but
that was cool. Like to extend his range.
Sure.
That was really cool. I was like, whoa, like I thought it was really interesting. Like I really like that like concept, right? Because it's like he's not like you have to work around that. Like he can't just continue to like shoot blood out. But I think what what he has to do is really be better at like being mobile and like knowing when he's definitely going, like, and Gonta needs to know when he's going to get a shot on, because I love the way he did that, right? He was like, here's a distraction, you're going to be focused on that, and then I'm going to hit you in the same spot that I hit you in before. Like I love that. That was cool. So I hope I see Gonta like game, like what I want to see past chapter 8 is like more Gonta like improving his strategy, his battle strategies, really understanding more about how his ability works, because I think that's really important. Like I don't know if he can like, like let's say like maybe he doesn't have to like, shoot the blood. He could just like, like he could just keep it in his hand, and that could be like just like I don't know, maybe he could like cover his hand with like the blood in some ways or something like that, and like maintain it, and then he could like use his fist to sort of like, I don't know. I have thoughts about that, but I do think that he can't keep like shooting things out, because he only has so much blood. He can only produce so much blood. So either he has to learn how to produce more blood, or right, which I don't think is happening, or he has to figure out a way to, either use fewer shots for the battles, or figure out how to maintain the kind of like energy in his palms so that he can kind of like not waste the blood. You know what I mean? So kind of like if let's say he had the blood around his fist instead of like in the palm of his hands, he could kind of use it for fist and like use the power in that and not waste the blood, I guess. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like he can sort of maintain it so he can keep it and use the force from what he's formed, and not have to waste like more blood, like shooting things. So he can, let's say if he needs to waste blood to do long range attacks, then that's fine. Like just not many of them, but he should be able to use like a close range, kind of like melee style like attack where he can just like use his fist to hit, or his legs or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just expand his armory, I guess, into more diverse attacks. Like I guess it's a little bit similar to Hero Academia, where Deku only like punched and his hands were destroyed because it was too powerful. And then he just it's just switched to using his legs. You know, like it's basic. I think it's the same direction. You know, just enhance his fighting style and get just find more ways to use the branches of Sinya.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing how Ganta utilizes it. I'm really interested because I think there are like really cool things that he could do, and maybe he could even learn like how to use other other abilities, because his ability seems to be like he instinctively knows how to shoot the blood forward, but I do think that like he might have the ability to use other abilities so long as like he can like conceptualize them. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So we're through all my questions, I guess, and you already made a lot of predictions on all those topics. So
yeah.
I guess we're through. So I guess for everyone, we should just get in touch after again to tell us which chapters are the next ones, or I guess you already did.
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah. So I think for you, definitely, like basically read to chapter 32, right?
32.
Read up to 32. And for me, I'm not exactly sure, but I know you get back to me. But basically, for this stream, right? Like not again for those like who are viewing this, it's not like might not be a live stream at the moment. Or even if you're in chat or whatever. Right, Nakamanga had to read up to chapter 24 of the Yu Yu Hakusho. He's reading it for the first time. And I had to read up to chapter 8 of Deadman Wonderland. I'm reading it for the first time. So we already have part 1 of this stream in another video, so y'all can check that out. But basically, with every one of these streams, we're going to be reading up to a certain, to the end of a certain arc. And then we're going to be discussing how we feel about the arcs, right? Because he's read Deadman Wonderland. So he's going to be, listening to what I think about it, how I felt about it, and stuff like that, and putting in certain types of input. And then I'm going to be sort of, listening to what he feels about Yu Yu Hakusho, up to what he's read, and I'll be sort of putting in input and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it's going to go until we've both finished the series. So because we understand that I think Deadman Wonderland is definitely shorter than Yu Yu Hakusho. But I think what's also, so it is definitely shorter. But that isn't. But so what will happen is eventually we will basically just kind of have a stream where either we'll switch to another manga, but it's kind of like So once I'm done with Deadman Wonderland, let's say like he'll suggest another manga for me to start reading, and he'll still be on Yu Yu Hakusho, and then once he's done with Yu Yu Hakusho, then we'll like the names of the streams will basically change as we go on. Basically,
well, it's nothing to be like focused on about. I guess we finish when we finish. Maybe we'll get more series, or we can decide on the fly.
Yeah.
Maybe get some people to join the stream, or I don't know. We will see how it goes. But I really like the format, so I'm always looking forward to produce more of these streams.
Yeah, definitely. So we can always do like this, or we can always get more YouTubers and like to do these discussions. I'll ask some other YouTubers like to see if they like if that's something that they'd be interested in. I know a whole bunch of other YouTubers who like are probably starting manga, who want to start manga. And that could be a cool way where it could be like me, you, Nakamanga, let's say other YouTubers, and it could be like a max of like four YouTubers, right? So it could be like two YouTubers who are starting to read one series and two YouTubers who are starting to read another series, and maybe it can go like that in the future.
Yeah. No, either way, well, I think it's a good format, and we can just definitely continue to go on. So also, what I want to say, we should announce which chapters we are going to read on social media, on Twitter, I guess.
Yeah, Twitter, definitely.
People can definitely join, and maybe also make an. I would suggest to make not the schedule, but on YouTube you can already announce the stream, so people can maybe tune in if they're interested.
Yeah, I agree, and we can also I think we should also start doing videos on you know, like series that we've both finished, and we could just have like one video where we like discuss just like the entirety of the manga. It could just be a live stream where we're just like, you know, maybe we have like questions for one another about that manga, about the manga that we both finished, and we could just have a stream where, you know, we ask maybe like, you know, 5 questions each or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something like that, like that kind of setup. Because I think we should also do videos like collabs where we're talking about manga that we both read. Because I think those discussions, you know, they'll work differently. And I think more people will be able to sort of come into like those streams if they've also read the manga and like have discussions about it.
Yeah, so if you also have other YouTubers who want to start like live discussions, I'm always in. You can always ask me. So
yeah, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is, because I'm always having like live streams and stuff like that. You know, for right now I'm just, you know, I'm also reading through I'm reading through Kingdom. I'm gonna do a live stream later on today. I guess I still got like a little bit of cleaning that I have to do. But I'm definitely gonna do the live stream today. It's gonna be a long one. It's probably gonna be later. I don't know. You might not be up for it just because it's probably gonna go on later on, because they want, like, you know, yeah. So you might not be up for it, but I'm definitely gonna do a Kingdom stream. It's gonna be a long one. It's probably gonna be like 40 chapters. I'm just gonna read through like 40 of them, and get the arc that I'm on over with.
Which arc?
That's the one with the where the sort of like formation of the High Shin unit.
Okay.
Yeah, and and then Oki is like the sort of general that's like leading the attack.
Yeah, I know what you're about. Yeah.
So that's where I am right now. So I'm really hyped.
So I'm also not caught up yet to the current chapter. I think I have like 100 chapters to go, and I don't know if you saw on my Twitter, but I did like a daily chapter thing, but I guess it was too interesting.
I saw that and I was like, man, like I gotta start reading Kingdom. Like everybody's reading Kingdom. So I think that was another reason why I was kind of like, you know what, I gotta get on that like eventually. And then so like I saw you doing that on Twitter, and then there were all these other people, like all these other YouTubers were like, yo, you gotta read Kingdom. And I was like, all right, I'll start reading Kingdom. So that was like kind of like, you know, so like you and all these other YouTubers kind of like, you know, inspired me to say, like, let me just like start doing live streams with Kingdom. And that's where I started. I started doing live streams with Kingdom because I didn't really want to do them, but now I realized that like I really like doing live streams. It's really fun because I get to talk with people in a different way. I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna have separate live streams for all of the manga, like Weekly Shonen Jump manga, because sometimes I want to do like one live stream where I'm reading everything, but sometimes that people can't really come into those live streams because they haven't read all of the manga that I'm reading. Like maybe some of them haven't read Black Clover, maybe some of them aren't actually reading My Hero Academia. They're watching them on the anime. So I think I'm just gonna split them up. I'm gonna have like a One Piece live reaction and review, where I just do a live stream, you know, for each manga. I'm gonna include Robot Laser Beam, Dr. Stone, and once I catch up with Haikyuu, I'm gonna do a live stream for Haikyuu at some point during the week. Once I catch up with that, which will be about like, maybe I won't say like 10 or 15 chapters. Once I do that, then I'm gonna add Haikyuu to that, and I'm always gonna do it on Mondays. Like every Monday, I'm gonna do it because I'm just gonna use the official release, because they all come out on the same time with the official release. So it just makes more sense to do it that way.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I saw also on Twitter, I guess the One Piece podcast promoted you for.
Yeah, I was like, man, I was not expecting that at all. Like that was.
Oh, but it's great. It's great. I also thought it's like really hypocritical that everyone's like saying, yeah, we should all do it, but nobody does it, you know. So it's a good way to. I'm supporting that. So yeah.
You know, and it's like,
so,
okay.
Just to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Everyone for watching live or later. So check out the Black Manga Critic. Yeah, you're already on his channel, but check out more of his stuff. I really like that. But and continue on to support him. He's like really great guy.
Thank you. And you also awesome, Nakamanga. Again, shouts out to Nakamanga. Shouts out to everybody that came through to watch this video, regardless if it's a live stream or just like the video variant that's posted on this channel. Make sure you sub to Nakamanga. I'm gonna leave his I'm gonna leave the link in the description box for you to do that. So just make sure you do that because I like his content. It's cool. You know, I think like for me, like it's always cool to have YouTubers who like, you know, look into the histories of you know, the mangakas that they're like reading and stuff like that. That's always really cool. You know,
I always like to inform people about stuff because I never thought about like, oh yeah, Akira Toriyama. Like, I know him because of Dragon Ball, but I never, when I started, I never thought about, yeah, he could already have many other series and many other stuff. So I now kind of I like to inform people more about the mangaka themselves and not only like the series they're currently known for.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So I love that. So like, yes, sub please to Nakamanga. I like again I'm gonna leave the description. I'm gonna leave the link in the description box. And yeah, I'm pretty much gonna end the stream here. This was an awesome stream. Like this is part 2. If you have not watched part 1, you know, definitely go check out part 1. And you know, check out Nakamanga's channel again for content. Check out my channel, of course, for content. And yeah, we're definitely gonna do part 3 sometime soon, where we just continue to talk about Yu Hakusho and Deadman Wonderland.
Yep, exactly. Okay, thank you all again, and have a nice day. Bye.
All right, I am gonna end the stream now, guys. I'm the Black Manga Critic, and